So I'm going to work on the version that I imported. Like I said, I don't know, for some reason the imported ones seem to work a little bit better than the exported ones. So the import file, export file, it's the same, exact same object, but I'm going to work on the import object right here. Notice that when we turn these turn these line work into AutoCAD, it is still line work. There are some split lines only because we didn't use it as a group or anything like that. But also because we kind of set it up this way. Can we go ahead and do a copy command? Copy, enter, select the objects. Remember, this one has a lasso effect, so if you crunch down and then pull, it's going to do that weird lapping stuff. So it doesn't matter where it exactly goes, but just move it out of the way so you have two of these things. We're going to demonstrate the cleanup tools that we're going to use for this thing. So once you either import or export into AutoCAD, we're going to have to do these couple steps. One is overkill. Because when we bring these line work in, what happens is that if you recall, when we make the 2Ds, there might be lines over lines over lines. If you recall, when we try to print it out in Rhino, it was like lines over lines over lines. There were like extra lines that we didn't really need, right? Those type of lines could come into AutoCAD. So what we need to do is an overkill command called overkill, and then select the object. Let's select one. I don't care if you use the right one or left one, but select one of them. Okay, and we enter, and a dialog box should pop up. There are a few settings that you could set up, like ignore object property, like thickness, transparency, all these line type and stuff. We didn't really set that up in Rhino, so we don't have to worry about it. But if you did want it to exclude what we're doing right now, you could check on these stuff. The option is kind of important. If we read this individually, it says optimize segments with polylines. That we could do, yes. Because every polyline we're going to try to make it into one or less, right? Combine collinear object that parallel overlap. That means that if there are lines overlapping, it's going to take that and kind of turn them into one big line, or one line. Combine collinear objects when align end to end. That's when like two lines come to an endpoint with each other. Do you want it to get glued together, or do you want to keep it apart? Okay. And the last one is maintain associative object. That I guess we could do, but for now, let's select all of these. We are going to combine collinear object. This is what I want to explain. This is what I want to demonstrate to you right now. Combine collinear object when aligned end to end. And we say OK, and it should have cleaned up everything. It didn't join these things, but if you notice right here, this line right here, when I select this part right here, it's taken this line and turned it into one straight line. The original one, these are three separate lines right here, right? Okay, so it's going to depend on what we're going to do, what we want to do with this thing. So if we go ahead and do the same process, overkill onto the other set, and take off combine aligned end to end, uncheck that part, and say OK, what it's going to do is to find whatever lines that are overlapped. It's going to kill that. It's going to get rid of that, turn it into one line. But this line right here is going to stay individual. That's a lot of time that's what we want. But again, it all depends on what you're doing. But for something like this, a doorway, a threshold should probably be a different line weight than the actual wall cut, right? So in this case, I want to not check on the end-to-end condition. So I'll keep it pretty much, I cleaned up any line that's possibly parallel to each other, one line on top of each other, I cleaned that up. But this one right here, I kept these lines separate because I'm going to join all of these wall parts. Okay, so overkill is a command, and this is a thing we do after we change the layers and the color of the line work. Okay.